All right, Tom, we have two more topics.
And
then we're done for the night. First up, we got a movie review. And I like this because I think we're a little bit indifferent on this one.
Yeah.
I.S.S., which came out about a month and a half ago in theaters, made on a budget of $20 million and only made $6 million at the box office, was quickly rushed to streaming services for people to pick up. I'm going to go to you first, Tone. I want to know your thoughts. I know, look, I think you and I, when we first saw this trailer, like, man, this is a fucking sweet premise.
Yeah, the premise, yeah.
The concept of this movie is you got the space station, the International Space Station, you got a handful of Russian astronauts, and you got a handful of American astronauts, and as they're up there doing their research and whatnot, they notice that nuclear war is breaking out on Earth, and then a game of cat and mouse plays out. And I was just like, man, could be really intense. It could be claustrophobic because you're stuck on this little space station. This looks pretty dope. Cool concept. So we've seen it. Tone, your thoughts.
Very cool concept. I like the thought process. I didn't know what we would get into, what to expect, because like when you're on a space station that's literally a few tubes, what can you do to really give that feel of suspense or that feel of like that fight or flight feeling?
Sure.
And I think there was some things that they did that
the cameras.
Yep. Yeah. And some tension and stuff as well too, but like the characters overall for me were pretty fucking boring.
Sure.
Yeah, I definitely think like it felt like it took for a while to kind of get going. It definitely it felt like a snooze fest at times. I don't know if there would have been a better way. Like the fact that it was an hour and a half for a movie that I felt like had great potential. I almost felt like that was too short because I feel like if I'd have been more invested in the characters, more invested in what was going on, I think this movie could have just caught me a little bit more. I know clearly they're on the I.S.S. There's no real weapons, there's no guns, so you're limited on the things you can do. But at the same time, when things start to kind of kick it off down on Earth, like it's almost like, and I get it, like they want you to feel disconnected from that.
Yeah.
But like you're looking at it, and I'm almost kind of like, well, I kind of feel like for me to care here, I need to know more here.
Sure.
And we didn't get a lot of that. Like you're seeing cool graphics. You're basically seeing the United States fucking torched.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I want to know what's going on. I want to see that. What's happening there? It's fucking what's going on. But we didn't really get any of that either. And even with the communications, it was just like, because to me, I'm thinking, okay, each side is saying take control of the space station.
Jay Hill, I'm glad you mentioned that because Jay Hill just said, it seems weird to me if nuclear war broke out, why wouldn't they band together because Earth is basically destroyed, no more countries. And that's a good point. But as you alluded to just now, as they're up there, they don't know what's going on. They don't understand the significance of what's happening. They don't know who's instigating what. And then the two commanders of both squads are basically getting these communiques from their respective leadership down on Earth, saying, "Hey, look, war has broken out between our two countries, and you are the I.S.S. is a strategic foothold now, and we need you to take command of the I.S.S. by all means necessary."
Yeah, well,
so they're all getting their orders.
So the I.S.S. is more than anything just a joint scientific space station. It's not like there's fucking weapons on it.
Sure.
So, like, of all things while a war is going on, the first thing these guys are thinking, man, hey, the two or three of you should probably take over the I.S.S. from the other guys with your no weapons and do something about it.
By any means necessary.
Right. So, like, already the premise to me, like, well,
stapler.
Right. The premise is a neat concept, but it just feels like, well, what does it fucking matter?
Right.
They're not going to do anything up there. You're not going to do anything up there. Your country's torched. What are you going to fucking fly up there and go, oh, here's your lunch, by the way. Thanks for taking it over. Like, there's nothing you're going to do at that space station. I don't know. Because that's my point. Like, you don't know what's going on necessarily down on Earth, and that's fine. But, like, to drive the narrative of why it would be so important in the middle of a fucking nuclear war for you wanting two or three of your comrades to take over there's no reason to.
Sure.
There's no like consequence one way or another for that.
Right.
Except for, well, the Russians got it. Ha ha ha. It's kind of dumb in that way. So, it just felt like instantly like I didn't feel like that there was any real thing to lose or gain by doing this. Again, like I get it. I get the premise and everything, but it was hard for me to be invested because I didn't know exactly what was going on Earth. Now, if they'd have said there's a secret protocol up here or a certain thing, whatever, I'm like, oh, I get it now. Like, hey, we need this because this, that, and the other. But it just didn't feel like that at all, you know. So there was some cool scenes in it, you know. But I'm gonna stop about talking now and let you say your words on as well too. I'm gonna use this for a moment to promote something that I've been watching recently, which dealt with this exact same thing. A show called For All Mankind on Apple Plus. We're nearing the end or the mid of the 4th season of that. Just came out this last fall. It's a different timeline of if Russia had landed on the moon first. This concept not only was done and has been done in that series, way better.
Really? Okay.
And I'm talking.
That's
like,
why the benefit of being a series as opposed to a 90-minute movie.
So when I'm watching this, I'm just like
seeing this done better.
Exactly. Yeah. And weapons were involved, and it was like pretty fucking tactical. So to watch this, I'm just like, man, like, I hate to say it because I'm watching this parallel to this, but it made me think like, you know, it was all right, but it's a science space station.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's all.
I get it. And like I said, I didn't think it was the best movie ever. I enjoyed it a little bit more just because I knew going in it was a 90-minute movie. Had this been a 2.5-hour movie, I probably would have been really irritated with, because you are on the International Space Station. It's a little ship. It's a little station. Yeah. Very few areas to go to.
About 2 yum-yum rockets.
But I really liked just the whole cat and mouse game and like kind of like the suspense of like, do we trust these guys? Because I feel like that's what would be going on. Because that was probably one of the parts that I liked most about the movie is when Chris Messina is getting that communique from Houston saying, hey, take over. And the other guy's like, well, I mean, if we just got that message, you know, there's a good chance they got it. So automatically you're creating that friction. Like, are we in danger?
I got like mild Crimson Tide vibes from that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know? But I mean, at the same time, yeah, there's no weapons on board, but like, I felt like, you know, getting that communique saying, oh, well, if we're getting that with no weapons on board, what are they getting?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so I mean, you're kind of making it more of a, you know, this is going to get really fucking nasty up here, hands-on type of shit. But I mean, it was short and to the point. So I appreciated that. Like I said, 90 minutes, didn't waste up a whole lot of my time.
Breezy.
I got to sit there and watch it. I wasn't too concerned about what was going on Earth and where these characters came from, simply because I knew it was a 90-minute movie. I was like, I just want to see how they're going to get the fuck out of this situation. You want to make it claustrophobic and you want to play let's hunt one another? I'm there for that. I want to see human beings down to the fucking nitty-gritty using their hands trying to fucking defeat one another. I think that shit's hot and fun. But like it is short and to the point, and it relies mostly on suspense, as both crews are kind of like racing against the clock, because there is this other impending doom that's fallen upon the space station, and they use some weird fucking reason to justify why they're trying to get the space station, because there's a radiation cure for radiation poisoning, and that's why the U.S. or the Russians want what they're studying.
Is that what I missed on that? Apparently,
yeah, because dude, that's why when it came up, I was like, oh, that's okay. I could have done without that.
I must have just missed that because, like
because
I said,
one of the people was working on a radiation poisoning cure.
I guess.
And because nuclear war broke out, they're like, we need that to cure our people.
Panda.
Thanks, Panda. So I mean, that part was kind of meh. The casting was okay. DeBose and Asbaek are both fine. DeBose is the female lead for the Americans. Asbaek is actually, he was Euron Greyjoy.
Yeah. He was
from Game of Thrones.
He was the drowned guy, or he thought he was the drowned guy.
Yeah, he thought he was, and like he was also in Overlord. He was awesome as the Nazi.
He's an awesome actor.
So I mean, he was good as a Russian, and I actually liked his role, because I thought for sure, I was like, okay, when this movie started, I was like, oh, he's in it. He's the bad guy.
Yeah, right.
He's the fucking bad guy. He's gonna be a slime ball. He's gonna be a scumbag. And but he was really good. He actually got to show a little bit of range. I mean, they were fine. Chris Messina is largely wasted in this movie.
Absolutely.
He's probably the most notable actor out of the group, and he is largely wasted. And the rest of the cast is just kind of mixed. But the ending, I thought the ending was kind of weak. I would have appreciated something more of a. Well, it was really weak.
It was fucking dumb.
That was the like I was honestly perfectly content with that movie for 89 minutes, and then when we got to the ending, I was just like, ah, I mean, it was weak, but I appreciated the workmanlike effort. I mean, honestly, man, this movie was made for $20 million, and by all accounts, they did the best they could. Sure. And I thought they did a pretty good job at, like, again, I love claustrophobic like settings, like The Descent. That really hits me. So like in these settings, I was like, man, this is kind of creepy. But yeah, the ending was pretty weak.
I was puzzled by that.
I was
choice.
seriously. I was like, oh come on, like, we can do something a little bit more climactic than that. You know, it was just
cool.
that was a bummer. But I didn't dislike everything leading up to that. I actually thought it was like cool, effective, workmanlike for $20 million. You got a cool premise. You know, I mean, with a bigger budget, but would have been over the top then, would have been just like really stupid and unbelievable. What's the ending? I'm never going to watch.
No, we're not going to spoil it. You got to watch
it. Dude, I mean, I'm not going to spoil it.
Yeah,
there might be some people who want to see it, and I get it.
Hey, listen, it's not the worst movie I've seen.
It'll be forgettable.
If you pass it, you're not missing anything.
Yeah. I mean, you might actually start if it's a Saturday night and you got nothing going on. 90 minutes, you're gonna it's not a killer. It starts and it's done. Yeah. Whether or not you like the ending, that's up to anybody. But we want to get your thoughts. If you saw I.S.S., whether you saw it in the theater when it was in there for 2 weeks or when you watched it on digital when it launched a month later, let us know your thoughts on I.S.S. I didn't hate it. I thought it was an okay flick for what it was trying to do, but I do understand Tone's criticisms of it because, by all accounts, I mean, if you really start to think about it, if you put a lot of thought into it, there's a lot of holes.
And again, I'll like I said, because I'm watching that show right now, like it's spoiled me on like space espionage a little bit in certain spots. So like
this is like the Cliff Notes version of that show.
Yeah, they didn't get the memo that somebody did it really good. So either way, whatever.
Want to get your thoughts? Let us know.